Welcome back to Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet. I'm Josh.
And I'm Kristie. We've got some more Reddit stories for you today, so let's get going.
Am I the asshole for not allowing my ex-maid of honor to be a bridesmaid?
Ooh, I'm like, why is she an ex? Did she do something bad? An ex-maid of honor? That sounds like you don't want her at your wedding at all, not the asshole.
Quick backstory. My fiance, male 33, and I, female 29, are getting married in September of 2026. Our friends, Stan, 34 male, and Zoe, 33 female, just got married in May. We asked Stan and Zoe to be our best man and maid of honor. They both said yes. In June, my maid of honor calls and says she can't be my maid of honor anymore due to some health issues. Also, she has to avoid stress and isn't sure if she'd be able to handle the wedding planning and her own medical bills.
Okay, that seems fair. I mean, unfortunate, but like if you have a medical issue come up, yeah, being a maid of honor is a lot of responsibility and you might not be able to handle that if you are ill.
I tell her that if she still wants to be included or be a bridesmaid to keep me posted. August 7th, I ask my sister to be my new maid of honor. The end of August, I check in with Zoe. She responds with, "The procedure went well. I'm still waiting on the official results. But the nurse said things look good, so I am optimistic." I heard nothing after that and got my last bridesmaid in September. November 4th, Stan and Zoe reached out asking if Zoe is a bridesmaid. I said, "I already have my bridal party. We wanted you to take a break for your health. You're more than invited to all the events, so you can just have fun and don't have to worry about planning."
Okay, the wedding is still like 1 year away. I feel like that's a lot of time. Like, Zoe could recover in that time and be up for being a bridesmaid. And like, I think you should have given her a little bit more time to recover and decide if she was up for it before just replacing her and not even telling her, "Hey, I'm going to go ahead and replace you." There needs to be some more communication here.
Yeah, she's working a little ahead of schedule, in my opinion.
And like, if Zoe was really my friend, I might leave it like up till pretty close to the wedding before kicking her out of the wedding party completely.
Zoe's response, "While I appreciate you considering my health, I'm extremely hurt that you couldn't just text me. I don't even know how to process our relationship. I would have never done this to you. My fiance says the four of us need to meet up to discuss this. We wanted to talk in person. Stan argues that they want to talk over the phone. We live in the same neighborhood and pass their house every morning to take our dog on a walk." Finally, Stan responds by saying, "You don't see just how hurt Zoe and I are by all of this. We have decided to cut ties with both of you. We have not spoken since. Am I the asshole?"
Okay, that seems like a little bit of an overreaction on Stan's part. Like, meet up with them and talk about it. Why do you not want to see them and want to do it over the phone? But also, you live in the same neighborhood. Have you not been going over and frequently checking on your ill friend to see if she's okay and talking to her about wedding stuff?
It sounds like no.
Her friend got sick and she cut all communication.
In June, she canceled being the maid of honor, and then by the end of September, the last bridesmaid slot gets filled. And it sounds like she talked to ex-maid of honor like twice in that time period.
I just don't understand. This person is your best friend. She's your maid of honor, and you just don't talk to her for months? I'm just so confused by this. Where is the communication?
It does seem a little weird, right?
And like, they live super close in the same neighborhood. I'm so confused.
Reddit is also confused by that logic.
Okay, good. It's not just me. I was like, am I missing something?
Top comment, your best friend is suffering medical issues, and you text her twice over the course of several months. That's it? That's all you do. You walk by her house every day and you don't stop by and drop off a snack, give a quick hug, nothing? This is your best friend? I don't care about your wedding, you suck. You're the asshole.
Now, I almost feel like I don't want to place all the blame on OP because friendship is a two-way street, but I do know being ill is so exhausting. And like, I feel like Zoe maybe is not feeling up to reaching out to people and keeping up the friendship. It's kind of up to OP to like check in on her and make sure she's okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, I really like your point of the wedding is still a year out. She has plenty of time to recover. You did not need to replace her. Maybe you could swap her out as the maid of honor, sure, because that's a lot of wedding planning to do.
Yeah.
But closing off the last bridesmaid spot seems a little weird.
Didn't even check in with Zoe at all and just was like, well, she hasn't contacted me. Guess she doesn't want to be a bridesmaid. Let's kick her out.
Yeah, and her husband is your best man.
This is so weird to me. Do these people not know how friendship works?
You're the asshole. Since you told Zoe she could still be a bridesmaid, you definitely owed it to her to check before giving your last bridesmaid spot to someone else. Especially since Stan will still be the best man. Sounds like not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. I kind of don't blame him.
It's to be expected that if he is in the wedding party, then she would want to be a bridesmaid unless her health prevented it. It is perfectly understandable that Stan doesn't want to be the best man if you're going to treat Zoe so badly. Now you've blown the whole thing. Yes, she should have kept you posted better, but come on, it would not have been difficult to text her.
I do think it's really weird, though, that when they were like, hey, let's get together and talk about this, though, Zoe and Stan were like, no, let's do it over the phone. We don't want to meet in person.
That's also weird, isn't it?
Yeah, this whole thing is really weird.
Yeah, I feel like not talking to your friend for a couple months is a weird reason to just be like, no, we don't want to see you in person. Phone call only. That's such a strange thing. I feel like everybody here is being a little off.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, from the information provided, I just have to assume that Stan and Zoe are just so insulted that you didn't check in on her enough during her recovery.
Yeah, from the information provided, everything is weird, but OP is more of the asshole than Zoe is. But something weird's going on. Am I the asshole for not wanting to pay for father-in-law and mother-in-law's retirement home?
I mean, why would you be responsible for paying for someone else's house?
Husband, 45 male, and I, 45 female, moved far from our families. We have 2 kids on the spectrum and have created a good life for ourselves. My family has always been helping financially, while his never gave him or us a dime. Mother-in-law and father-in-law have built 2 houses, one for them and the other for their younger son, who stayed to live close to them. They also bought a car for him and raised/supported his kids. I, on the other hand, did everything myself. Raised the kids, homeschooled them, managed all the doctors, maintained the house, so that my husband can build a career. With my family's money and his skills, he built a good business. And now, 15 years after we left, mother-in-law and father-in-law, both 65, say that they want to go to a retirement home. Besides being too young for this, they are also both very healthy and active. They just feel like they'd enjoy being waited on and have somebody else clean, cook, and care for them. And they expect us to pay for this.
Sorry, how old are the in-laws?
They're both 65.
I mean, you can move into a retirement village at 65.
Yeah, some places are like 55 and up.
Like,
That's more like a retirement community, though, not one of like the retirement homes where they like actually do a lot of help for you because you need it.
yeah, but it kind of sounds like OP doesn't quite understand that there's like levels of retirement home. Like, you can move in while you're still relatively healthy, and then you have time to settle in, and it's just sort of convenient for you.
They could easily sell their house to pay for this, but they want to leave it to their younger son since he's kind of a deadbeat.
Sorry, I thought he already had a house.
He does. That his parents paid for.
But he needs a second house?
Yes, apparently.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, so he can sell it and then he gets the money? But why does he need the money? He already has a free house from his parents.
I don't understand that at all.
Hubby wants to commit to this. He's sensitive to his mother's wishes, but I am against it. The way I see it, they already gave the brother one house and nothing to us. They can afford to pay it from their house proceedings but don't want to, and they don't even need to be in a retirement home. The fact is, the deadbeat brother will quickly sell their house once they enter that retirement home, so they'd not be able to go back to their house. Hence, they'll be our obligation for the next 20 years down the road. I am not ready to commit to this since our kids might need a lifetime of money and support due to being on the spectrum, while brother's kids are fine. Also, I don't think this is fair to my parents who gave us over $500,000 over the last 15 years without expecting anything in return. Am I the asshole for not wanting to pay for their retirement home?
I mean, it kind of sounds like you and husband just need to talk about the fact that you don't think you can afford this. But also, I don't understand at all their logic of leaving that house to younger brother. He's got a house, unless he sold it.
I think they just know he's a deadbeat and that he needs the money to raise his kids.
Well, then why wouldn't they sell their house, give him a portion of that money, and move into the retirement community with that money?
I do not know. I do not get it.
It sounds like they want to move into a retirement community, but not use any of their own assets for it. I just don't see any reason for you to have to pay for this when they have so many assets to their name.
Because they don't want to pay for it. You could pay for it. Why won't you pay for it?
It sounds like that is what they want. you and your husband, it sounds like you moved away for work, which can explain a little of why they're closer to younger brother, right?
Yeah.
Because just proximity. But I don't know why that would mean they can move to your area when they're ready to retire, and then it's your financial responsibility.
They're not even saying move to their area. I think they still want to be close to younger brother.
Oh, so they mentioned that they would be her problem if they decided to leave the thing, so I just assumed they were moving closer.
She never said that. She just said they wouldn't have a house to move back into because the younger brother's going to sell it as soon as he gets it.
And instead of moving in with younger brother, they'd want to move in with her or ask for money.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that just sounds awful.
Top comment, NTA, and this is a hill to die on. You have a husband problem, not an in-law problem. Somewhere deep inside, your husband wants the love and attention his brother receives, and your husband may think that this is how he gets it. You and your husband need to be on the same page, and he needs to deal with his parents. It is not fair to make you the bad guy in this situation.
This is true.
Someone replies, hubby needs boundaries and to put his wife and kids first.
This is also true. I think that you need to have a talk with your husband and just tell him that, hey, we really can't afford this. It's a big ask that they're asking for.
Even if they could afford it, I don't think they should. Parents have enough money to pay for it themselves. Why do they need to leave all this extra stuff to the brother?
Yeah, I find that part weird still. Like, the parents have enough assets that they should be able to sell their house and put that towards retirement, and instead they're trying to give money over to younger brother. Like, you gotta take care of yourself before you can take care of other people. It's the responsible thing to do.
They just want other people to take care of them so they can take care of younger brother.
Right, like they're just almost funneling the money that you give them over to little brother just through
the parents. So really, he'd be paying for his brother to get a house, a second house. Why would he do that?
Essentially, yeah. I just don't understand why the brother needs a second house. Did something happen to the first house?
No, it's just everybody knows he's a deadbeat and he's going to need the money to raise his kids.
There's better ways to raise your kids than a lump sum payment from your parents' house that they really need to use for retirement.
Tell your husband before he pays for his parents' retirement home, he can pay your parents back for the over $500,000 he had off of them. Once that is paid, then he can pay for his parents' retirement home alongside his divorce.
That little part at the end was painful.
I'm just saying, if I was OP's parents and I had financially helped support my daughter and her husband to start a business and get their career going and everything, and they turned around and gave a crap ton of money to his parents, I would be so mad.
That's true. You gave a lot of money to your kid there, and they repay you by going and giving it to somebody who
doesn't really need it.
And has never helped them, it sounds like.
That is not the kind of thanks I want.
No, you're right. That is insulting to OP's parents.
Other people are agreeing. Tell him that he has to pay back her parents before he pays for his parents. From how I see it, if he is so financially stable to be paying for his parents, who are paying for their younger son, he would be financially stable to be paying back everything he took from your parents.
Yeah, you could almost say that they're in debt.
Yeah, they're really not financially stable. They're $500,000 in debt to her parents.
Like, it sounds like that was all gifts without the any sort of intent to have paid them back, you know? But still, they gave you a lot, and you should probably repay them first.
People also think that OP's husband is sensitive to his mother's wishes because the younger brother is the golden child, and the husband is trying to buy his parents' love.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes with those type of relationships. The one kid gets everything and the other kid is constantly working to get that same attention and just doesn't get it.
Ooh, here's a little comment from OP that's a little update. Turns out they want to leave their house as a rental income to their younger son, who hasn't been working since 2021, and have us pay for their retirement home.
Okay, well, that makes a little more sense to me. I thought it was like he just needed a second house or something, or he's going to sell it and get a lump sum payment. At least the rental income is consistent income, but still maintaining one rental is not like a full-time job. And it still doesn't solve the point of they should be paying for their own retirement with these assets. Hey, did you know that you could subscribe to this channel?
So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of our awesome videos.
We really appreciate your support.
That was probably the most enthusiastic we've ever been on this channel.
Am I the asshole for refusing to accompany a friend to pick up pizza, but then going when a close friend decided to go?
I mean, that's kind of hurtful to the one friend you refused to go with. I do feel like that's kind of an asshole move. Oh, you won't go with me, but you'll go with him? Okay, I see where I stand.
Last night, I was with some friends at someone's place. At some point, we ordered pizza, but it was a pickup special. When it was time to go, no one wanted to go. One of my friends said he couldn't go because he'd pulled a muscle at the gym. Another one of my close friends said he'd gone last time, and he was playing ping pong with another friend. Another friend and I were excused because don't make the girls walk that late in the cold, lol. Anyway, the friend whose turn I guess it was said he wasn't going alone, and then complained about it being too cold out. The friend who I'm closest to finally said he'd go and get it. I said I'll go too. I didn't think much of it. I just thought it'd be a nice walk, and I didn't want him to go alone. Later, as me and the other girl were Ubering back, she told me it was kind of savage to agree to go when it wasn't the first guy that was going, and that the vibe was a bit off. I said that it wasn't about him at all. I didn't mean it as a snub at all. She said that's what it felt like, at least to him, and it was kind of asshole-ish from his perspective. Was I the asshole here?
A little bit, yeah. I feel like you kind of were. You are definitely showing a preference for one friend over the other. And I mean, I get that you do have closer friends, but you're like saying it's not worth spending time with the first guy who wanted to go. You're like, I don't want to hang out with you at all.
It did kind of sound like that, didn't it?
Yeah, which comes across as mean.
Like, as a guy, I think I would take offense if I said I'll go and then no one would go with me and then someone else said they'd go and suddenly somebody wants to go with him.
Yeah, I would find that offensive. I mean, my feelings would be hurt.
Yeah, I would almost assume that you don't like me because you wouldn't walk with me. Like, we're in the same friend group, but we're not friends, apparently. Top comment. So you don't want your friend to go alone, but you were totally fine with the first guy going alone. Yeah, you're the asshole in this situation. If I was him, I would certainly not consider you a friend after this.
Yeah, she's definitely given off the vibe that she just does not care for the first guy at all.
Someone replied to that with a question, are you trying to get with your close friend? Because I could see that being a factor in OP's decision. And yes, you're the asshole.
I was kind of thinking that too. I was wondering, does she have a crush on the guy she wanted to go with?
I could kind of see that being a reason, honestly.
Yeah, because nobody does want to walk to go get pizza in the cold. And suddenly she's like, oh, I'll do it if you're going so I can spend time with you.
Yeah.
Definitely feels like a crush behavior.
I like this comment. Everyone sucks here. Don't order pickup if you're all going to whine about picking it up. It was also inherently tacky to announce you were going with your friend after he complained about going alone. I also kind of agree with that. If no one's willing to go get the pizza, you might have to front the delivery cost.
Yeah, they're all just being like, I don't want to go get it. That's very whiny and annoying and like, yeah, just pay to have it delivered. I get they're probably broke college students who don't want to pay that extra money, but if you're all going to be so whiny about it, just do it.
That was my assumption too, is that there are a bunch of college students hanging out. But like, I remember plenty of times walking down to get food in college. Actually, a lot of times we would all just go out and get food and then come back as a big group.
Yeah, so all 20 of us would leave the house, go get food, and tromp back to the house with our food.
Yeah, you would swarm into Taco Bell or something. Like, it was just a fun trip. And that was like in Michigan. So
in the middle of winter at MSU, where everything's far apart and it's very cold.
Yeah, so you all walk off, you get your whatever food you're getting, and then you all walk back. I mean, there were a few times where we'd send somebody out, but usually they had a car. That was when you sent someone out alone, is when they had the car.
And usually still like 3 or 4 of us would go in the car.
Absolutely. You send them with company.
Yeah.
So it seems like your friend group needs to be a little more friendly to each other.
It really does. Am I the asshole for quitting my chore of cooking 2 nights a week because my little sister keeps ruining it and my parents expect me to start over every time?
How badly is she ruining it that you just have to start over? I guess you're not the asshole because that sounds really frustrating.
It's like cooking 2 dinners in one night. And what if she messes that one up?
Yeah, if she's still helping after you start over, how many times do you have to cook a dinner?
Oh, it's nice that you think that the little sister is helping when she ruins it.
I assumed that meant that she was just in the way.
I, 16 male, am the oldest of 4. I have 2 brothers, 13 male and 11 male, and a little sister, 8 female. My 11-year-old brother has ASD. He goes to therapies twice a week until late, and my parents always struggled to cook those nights.
I don't know what ASD is.
Autism spectrum disorder.
Okay.
Just never heard the acronym.
Nope, never heard anybody bother to shorten it.
We used to do takeout. Then last year, my parents asked if I would cook 2 nights a week, and they offered to remove one of my other chores in place of it. I was like, yeah, because at the time, I really didn't mind. A few months ago, my little sister started acting out and being difficult with a lot of stuff. She wanted to stay up late and throws tantrums over not getting new toys or what she wants. The other thing is, she hates not getting to choose what we have for dinner, and she started throwing her dinner on the floor, and when I cook, she has started to knock stuff onto the floor while I'm cooking or prepping stuff. Or she'll spit in it a bunch of times to make me throw it out.
She'll spit in it?
Yep, I don't want this for dinner. Nobody can eat it now. Start over. Make what I want.
This is the antics of a girl that has 3 older brothers. But also, that's super gross, and your parents need to teach her not to do that. Like, respect food.
Or she'll dump ketchup or mayo in it, and it's always when I have stuff sort of close to being done, or when I've been making dinner for a while already. I stopped her a few times, but she'll try over and over again until she can win. Or she'll start spitting and aiming for dinner.
Oh my god, this is insane. There's acting out, and then there's being this level of acting out. I don't want to go too hard on her because she is 8.
But it's like a little beyond acting out, right?
Yeah, this is like a problem that the parents need to address.
My parents never say anything to her, and they expect me to start over when she messes with it. They got mad at me a couple times when I refused to start over when I was trying to take up dinner and my sister spoiled it. My sister doesn't listen to me either. She'll scream at me that I can't stop her, and it's so frustrating.
It sounds like dinner on these nights is just going to be bread and water.
I spoke to my parents so many times, and they told me to keep calm and redo when I need to. But I've reached a point where I couldn't do it anymore because I wanted to kick her out of the house when she was acting like that. And I know I can't. She's only 8. But man, it is frustrating, and she is so bratty about it. He's only 16 years old and trying to deal with this terror of a little girl.
I have to give him kudos. He's being awfully patient for a 16-year-old.
So I quit cooking twice a week and I started doing my old chore instead again. My parents told me I don't get to just quit, and they're fighting with me because they think cooking is more important and I'm quitting too easy. They said we need to eat and I was doing something really good for our family and I'm old enough to realize the impact. Am I the asshole?
No, why are your parents not parenting your sister at all? I mean, it sounds like they've got their attention on your brother a lot. But that's not an excuse just to ignore your other kids. Somebody has to tell her it's not okay to spit in food for any reason. And that needs to be the parents. It's not your job to wrangle her. I can't imagine having to cook a dinner while actively, holding an 8-year-old back with one hand.
As she's clawing herself up your body to try and get closer to the food to spit in it. That is so gross.
That is super gross.
She's probably spitting on you.
Yeah, you almost need to put a lock on your kitchen door because she's, ruining all the ketchup and the mayo. She's costing your family a lot of money, it sounds like.
Yeah, he's had to throw out a lot of food because she spit in it or put ketchup in it.
Yeah, I'm surprised your parents aren't mad that they have to essentially pay for 3 to 4 dinners every night. Does she not act like this at all when your mom is doing the cooking the other 5 nights, or your dad, or whoever does it?
I have no idea. He doesn't say. Top comment. If cooking is more important, why aren't they dealing with the cooking saboteur? NTA. OP responds, that's what I wanted to know, but they just act stressed and tell me I need to get dinner on the table.
It sounds like you're the easier person to be mad at, doesn't it?
And someone replied to OP, then put the ruined food on the table and tell them dinner is served. Dinner is served, little sis spit in this, enjoy.
Yep, you're 16. You can't be spending all night cooking multiple dinners. You probably have homework.
This is the answer right here. If they don't care that she's ruining the food, they can enjoy the food she ruined. If they want non-ruined food, they can step up and keep her from ruining it. Make yourself a sandwich and relax. Your job is cooking, their job is parenting. You held up your end.
I think that's a great way to do it. Just set everyone down on the table. Let them all know what happened to it so your brothers don't eat it. But Sister and parents, they can absolutely eat it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I might be like, here, mom and sisters, you can have this mayo spit spaghetti. I made sandwiches for me and brother, though. Feed your little brothers, because they're not being the problems here.
Yeah, I might be like, slip them a peanut butter sandwich under the table or something. But no, I think that just that level of malicious compliance is the correct decision here.
How much food is being wasted? All of that probably cost more than the takeout they could have just brought home.
That's probably true, isn't it? Takeout only costs like 3 to 4 times as much as buying the food at the grocery store.
And if he's remaking it multiple times because she keeps ruining it, yeah.
Yeah, if money's the problem, then they're not saving any money, it sounds like. But either way, they really should not be letting little sister learn the lesson that she can get her way if she just destroys something.
She is way too old to act like that. Your parents really need to step up and provide consequences for that behavior. Tell them you'll resume cooking when her behavior is corrected.
Yeah, because 8 is about that age where you're really pushing your boundaries, seeing what people will accept.
Yes.
And if parents aren't there to kind of rein you in and push you into the right, attitude, I don't know what the older brother can do in that situation.
Another comment, NTA, but something is very wrong with your sister. This is extreme attention-getting behavior. Do your parents spend most of their time with the 11-year-old? Has anyone spoke to a doctor about how she's acting? The fact your parents are ignoring this behavior is really sad. What is she going to have to do next to get attention? Good for you for standing your ground. Your parents created this situation and now they need to deal with it. I am a little bit concerned that they are so focused on the child with special needs that they are ignoring the rest of the family a little bit. And I kind of feel like maybe sister needs some therapy on her own to deal with having a brother with special needs and how that impacts their family life.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. 8 is a tough age to have your parents dedicating so much of their time to one of your siblings, and no matter how good they are, you're going to be a little more neglected because of it. It's just sort of the unfairness of life. Acting out to this degree is not like a healthy
response.
Yeah, it's not a healthy response. Parents really need to kind of be on it and solve the problem. Am I the asshole for refusing to take home leftover food from a trivia night?
I am baffled by this one. 1, why would you refuse leftover food? And 2, who's going to be angry that you're refusing leftover food? This is weird.
My, male 23, girlfriend, female 22, and our parents went to a trivia night together last night. Her parents brought a lot of food, which was very welcome and appreciated by everyone at the table. There were other drinks and some snacks that were available to all guests, but her parents brought enough to have a whole meal, of which I ate more than my fair share. It was overall a good night, and our parents get along very well together when we all go out. Skip to the end of the night, and her parents are deliberating on how much food they have left over and what to do with it. Her mom offers me a leftover charcuterie platter, which I accept gladly. However, she continues to offer me other food items that we either do not want or that my girlfriend and I do not have the fridge space for. I first try to decline politely, but her mom keeps pestering and trying to compromise with us to take it. It seemed very clear to me that she was trying to avoid taking anything home with her, which I understand, but we simply couldn't take more than what I had already accepted, or I knew we wouldn't eat some of the things she offered. She continued to prod and even starts to hand the items to my girlfriend after I said no.
Well, it seems like mom doesn't want to take them home because she doesn't want to eat them either. This is the point where you just politely say, yes, thank you very much, and then you take it home and you throw it away if you have to.
Yeah, it does sound a little bit like a mom just trying to feed the kids.
Yeah.
Like, no, take some food with you.
Yeah, both of our parents do that. You don't want to take any food home with you? Take some of this with you. And you say, yes, thank you very much, and take the food home with you.
I get visibly frustrated, but I bring up the fact that we have limited fridge space and that we are already taking that food and some other food items from the silent auction home with us, so we cannot take any more. What kind of trivia night was this?
Yeah, it sounds like it was like out someplace where they had a silent auction, but you brought your own food and sat at tables and ate your own food. I'm really confused. This is weird.
Maybe they have some sort of silent auction thing with their family gatherings? She tries to compromise by taking the food out of the containers and placing it in the dishes we already have. She tells us that she brought the extra food with the intention of giving it to us afterwards, which she never told us about before. I sternly say, I said no, please respect that. Everyone gets quiet and looks at me uncomfortably. My dad comes up to me and says, It's a gift. You should accept it politely. In my opinion, it felt disrespectful because it seemed more like she was trying to force me to take food that she didn't know what to do with after I said we couldn't take it. It was also strange because although I understand the sentiment of giving away food to her daughter and her boyfriend, it was an absurd amount of food to expect us to take with us. I didn't want to start an argument, so I just took it and had to throw a good amount of it away. Am I the asshole?
You already started an argument. What do you mean you didn't want to start an argument? If you didn't want to start an argument, you would have said, okay, thank you very much, and taken it home and just thrown it away. Do not let her know you didn't want it. I don't understand.
I feel like OP doesn't have the type of parents that just shove food at them as they try to leave the house.
And both of our parents do that, and we're just used to it, maybe? I don't know. Is this not something every parent does and every child is used to?
Right? I could never imagine turning to somebody trying to give me something and be like, I said no, please respect that.
That is extremely rude.
That is fighting words.
I feel like what he should have done is been like, no, I really don't have room for it in my fridge. Mother-in-law insists. He goes, okay, does anybody else want this food? Try and pawn it off on other people. If he can't get anyone else to take it, okay, thank you very much, mother-in-law. Take it at home, and if it doesn't fit in your fridge, throw it away.
That is good. Personally, I would go with the classic, like, no, I can't. I have so much already. Thank you, though. You've already sending so much with me. And then she insists again, and you try to take, like, half of what she's adding. Like, try to negotiate her down, but never outright say no, right? Just be like, you're so nice. Thank you.
It really is like refusing a gift, and that is very rude, in my opinion.
It really is. Like, she will never know if you just toss some of that food.
And I know it seems wasteful, but she didn't want it either. She was trying to avoid throwing it away, so you just have to throw it away for her.
Yeah. And you can eat some of it. Hell, you can go and give it to someone else.
Yeah. Stop at your neighbors and be like, hey, you want some food?
Yeah, like, hey, we had a party and we got too much food. Do you want some? But also, like, I don't know, cram it in your fridge. How full is your fridge that you couldn't fit this food?
I'm very skeptical of that.
I feel like he just didn't want it.
Which baffles me. Why don't you want the food? Eat the food. It's good food.
It sounds like it was good food, too. It doesn't sound like she was trying to pawn off like a casserole on you.
I kind of like casseroles.
Yeah,
I mean, it depends on the casserole.
Casseroles get a bad rap, but, like, that's because a bad casserole is a bad casserole.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And, like, if someone gave me a tuna casserole, I would be highly offended because I don't like tuna. It stinks.
See, I like a tuna casserole.
And I don't want you to have a tuna casserole because then you stink.
But it's so good, Kristie.
No kisses for you. Tuna breath.
Top comment. You ended up arguing about it and throwing it out later, when you had the option of not arguing about it and throwing it out later. I agree she was pushy and presumptuous, but I think taking home a bit of extra food and throwing it out is such a trivial burden that it wasn't worth making everyone else in the room uncomfortable by sternly refusing it. Listen to your dad. You're the asshole. Yeah, like, that was some good fatherly advice from your dad. Just accept the gift.
It really was. I would also like to note in here, because our mothers do watch the podcast, we do not throw away any of the food you give us. We like food. Keep giving us food.
Yeah, and that's not us lying to be polite. We eat everything. So I didn't mention it before. Reddit is pretty much you're the asshole. Not so much for not wanting the food, but for how rudely you refuse the food. Although, having said that, there are quite a few people in the comments who think OP is not the asshole. These YTAs are absolutely insane. OP sternly refused when mother-in-law refused to accept no for an answer multiple times. OP literally did not have room for the food. There were plenty of other people around mother-in-law could have asked and offered to. But for some reason, she insisted the extra food become OP's responsibility to deal with. OP had zero obligation to deal with the leftovers just because mother-in-law said so. This is one of the most squarely NTAs to come across this subreddit lately, that it seems like people are just rage-baiting something OP did wrong. NTA unquestionably.
Oh, I strongly disagree. Now, I do agree if you do not want the food, it is acceptable to go around and try to find someone else to take the food. Like, there were plenty of people there. Yeah, help mother-in-law find someone to take the food that neither you nor her want. But if nobody wants the food, you just say thank you and take the food.
Yeah, and mother-in-law even said she brought extra food so she could send it home with her daughter.
Yeah, shouldn't the daughter have been the one dealing with this and being like, no, mom, we don't want the food. Why are you in charge of being the food police? Let your girlfriend deal with it.
Yeah, that's a little weird, isn't it? Like, usually she's pushing it into her daughter's hands.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess for some reason, OP was the one that felt the need to say no. Maybe daughter was just going to accept it quietly.
Which is the polite thing to do.
But there was no room in the fridge. Anyway, someone replied to that person's comment. As with OP, you're looking at this as if the food was something inconvenient to be dealt with, as though she was asking him to take the trash bags home with him. I suspect OP may not be from the same culture as his girlfriend. In some cultures, you eat and go. In others, parents will endlessly produce containers of food, drinks, and sweets as their children is leaving.
That's our culture. Is it a Midwest thing? I don't know.
It might be a Midwest thing.
All my relatives in Pennsylvania do this too. It's a Pennsylvania and Michigan thing.
Parents will endlessly produce containers of food, drinks, and sweets as their child is leaving to provide them with meals to freeze, things to eat later, to save money, etc. Particularly common if the child is a young adult, but it may never stop. I think it's lovely. Yes, practically, some of the things may get thrown out, but it's a demonstration of love that many parents wouldn't even consider. Regardless, OP's reaction was unnecessary. It's his girlfriend's parents. Who is he to put his foot down? She could have accepted or declined it without causing offense.
Yeah, I want the girlfriend's take on this. Was she trying to take the food and boyfriend was like, no? Because I would also be mad. I'd be like, no, let me take the food. Are you trying to police what I'm eating? That's not cool.
So I did find a comment addressing that. What was your girlfriend saying while this was going on? To which OP replied, she was somewhat quiet because I think she was either uncomfortable or focused on talking with other people, but she agreed that we couldn't take everything that her mom was offering. Her mom was mostly directing this to me for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe she wants you to like her.
Yeah, I do that. If I want someone to like me, I give them sweets. Have a cupcake. Yeah. Be my friend.
Yeah, that's absolutely a Midwest friendship offering, isn't it?
Yeah, freshman year of college, at the very beginning of the year, I had brought like chocolate chip cookies with me for lunch, but I brought them like to class. And as I was like sitting down, I don't know anyone in the class. I'm trying to make friends. I turned to the guy next to me and I'm like, would you like a chocolate chip cookie? And he's like, yeah, thank you. And he took my chocolate chip cookie and then he turned and talked to the girl next to him on the other side of him for the rest of the class and did not say another word to me. And I was extremely offended. That was a friendship cookie. And then he just completely ignored me.
Yeah, some people just don't understand a social contract when it's handed to them.
They do not. I mean, I guess the girl on the other side of him was probably hotter than I was, but still, don't take the cookie then if you don't want to talk to me.
One last comment. This is a good example of the difference between being right, you can refuse stuff you didn't have the room, and being polite and a likable human. If you spoke to her mom like that, I'm assuming now everyone not only thinks you're the asshole, but also rude as hell. She might have been misguided or a bit pushy, but to describe her as disrespectful is completely over the top.
That is a good point. Like, he was really rude to his girlfriend's mom. That's someone you're trying to make a good impression on, right? Like, even like 15 or 20 years later, how long have we been dating? 15 years? 15 years later, you're trying to make a good impression on your significant other's parents and be polite.
Yeah, that's a good point. You never really reach a point where it's okay to make a bad impression.
Am I the asshole for crafting during meetings?
Like, are you knitting while you're on a Zoom meeting? Because, I don't know, that seems a little weird to me. If I was on a Zoom meeting with somebody and they were just sitting there like crocheting, I'd have to ask if you're paying attention.
So I work in a mainly office setting and we have a lot of meetings, video conferences, and online training, which is primarily in video format. I've always needed something to do with my hands, thanks to ADHD, and if I don't, then I cannot focus on things that aren't reading properly, which is ironic because I also have dyslexia. I've also been crocheting and knitting since I was little, and it's something I do a lot while at home, watching TV and movies, because it helps me focus.
I knew this was going to be a crochet or knitting person, because this is absolutely what crochet and knitting people do. They hit that skill level where they no longer need to look at the crochet or the knitting. It's just something that they do with their hands, and they don't need to concentrate on it
It's
at
just
all.
like their hands are on autopilot while their brain is doing something else.
Yeah.
It's really freaky. In university, I used to crochet and knit in lectures because it helped and no one seemed to have a problem with it. The lecturers actually encouraged it when I asked and said as long as it helped me focus, I could do whatever I wanted. So I decided I was going to take it into work with me to see if that would help me focus more in meetings and not get distracted during them. They're very long meetings, going up to 4 hours sometimes, and usually I mentally clock out within the first half hour. Side note, I had brought up in supervision that I had trouble focusing, and my manager was actually the one that recommended I find something to do with my hands and okayed it.
That's a very interesting bit of feedback to get from a manager, in my opinion, but good for you, I guess.
It worked. I was able to focus a lot better and be more involved in the meetings because I wasn't drifting away. But recently, a colleague came up to me and told me to stop. He said that it was rude and disrespectful towards everyone in the meeting and our service users whom the meeting are generally about.
I'm sorry, a colleague said this?
Yes.
How entitled is this person that they feel the need to walk up to somebody that they are not directly in charge of and say that you shouldn't be doing something? Just like somebody that's at the same level of management as you?
That does seem weird to me. Like, if I was bothered by something my colleagues were doing, I would maybe go to my manager and be like, hey, are you aware that so-and-so is doing this and it's weird?
Yeah, like if you're sitting there in the middle of a meeting and doing something so distracting, I might go to my boss or their boss and just like kind of bring it up casually and be like, why are they doing that? It's really throwing me.
But to directly confront another employee on the same level as you is weird.
Yeah. Also, sorry, did she say that she's doing this in client meetings?
She does clarify that later. The clients are not in the meetings. It's meetings about their clients, but they are not in the meeting.
Okay, because I was going to say, in a client meeting, you don't get to have the excuse that this helps me concentrate better.
Yeah, that seems a little too unprofessional to do in a client meeting.
Yeah, if you're sitting there knitting in a Zoom meeting while trying to essentially convince me that I should continue to give you money, I am going to just hang up and stop giving you money.
I tried to explain that it actually helped me in staying on track and remembering more of the information about our service users, but he held his stance firmly. And it's not like I'm not participating at all. I don't need to look down at my knitting or crochet because I've been doing it so long. I bring in the pieces that are simple and mindless to do. I also will put it down to write or type up notes, and if I'm talking. Anyway, my colleague said he was going to bring this to higher ups if I continued, even though I had already cleared it with my manager before I started doing so. And it's gotten me a bit worried, so I need your opinions.
He should have just done that in the first place. Yeah, I don't know why he's picking a fight. Like, that's what he's doing, right?
I do also feel like he's kind of trying to, assert control over her.
Absolutely, because he's like, if you don't do what I want, I'm gonna go tattle. Like, that's little bitch behavior right there. You don't...
I'm sorry, I just snorted.
No, that's little bitch behavior. I'm sticking with that one. You don't get to just go, if you don't do what I want, I'm gonna go tell teacher. That's the kid that everyone beat up on the playground.
I just want to say that the meetings I take part in aren't massive company meetings. Usually there are about 6 to 15 of us, and it's generally group discussions. Also, where I work is quite relaxed and generally a casual setting. Like, we wear smart casual as well, so it's not super formal. So, should I stop? Is what I'm doing disrespectful?
I mean, as long as no one else has complained about it distracting them, right? Like, I could maybe see it if you were sitting there just knitting through the whole meeting, that it might distract me, at least for the first couple meetings.
Yeah.
But I would probably get used to it. I'm assuming you can't just turn off your webcam.
No, and I don't know if it's all Zoom meetings. Some of them might be in-person meetings.
I thought she said at the beginning they were all video.
I work in a mainly office setting. We have a lot of meetings, video conferences, and online trading. So she never says the meetings are...
I assumed those were all like one thing. Okay, sorry.
No, and then a coworker came up to her after the meeting. So I think they're in person.
Okay, well, if they're in person, I could see it being a little distracting if there's knitting needles clacking through the meeting.
Yeah, that might be distracting.
But once again, it's not coworkers' job to bring this up. It is management's job to bring this up. That's why there is a chain. Because if he's just doing it, he's being a little bully. But if management's like, hey, you actually are distracting the meetings, I'm sorry. Like, there's polite ways to bring this up, and he did not do it.
I do feel like OP should go to her manager and be like, hey, colleague confronted me about this and says that they're going to complain to you. And I did get your approval beforehand. I just wanted to make you aware that this situation is going on.
Yeah.
Just get ahead of the problem.
Yeah, just check in with him. Be like, hey, are we still cool with this? Has anyone else complained? Because I don't want to be a bother, but it actually is helping me quite a lot. I don't know. I think from this information, you are clearly not the asshole. You're not doing it in client meetings, and only one person has complained, and they sound like a loser, so it's fine.
There are edits for more info to clear up some of our questions.
Okay.
To clear up about the service users, they are not in the meetings with us. It's only us as professionals in these meetings. We are discussing them and what we are going to do and our plans, but they are not present for them. We work with their mental health, and I'm part of a therapy team, so I am well aware that it would be unprofessional to do so in the presence of service users.
That's good. I will also add, it just kind of occurred to me that I have been on so many Zoom calls in advertising where it's very obvious that the creative team is like over here actively drawing something. So I guess I can't talk because I've been in lots of meetings where like the art director is sitting there doodling in a sketchbook. So knitting's not that far off.
She has more to add. Additionally, the people within these meetings are generally people I see every day, so they're not all strangers. Also, I keep the crafting on my lap, and the projects are relatively small and in one color, like socks, hats, squares, etc. Not big projects like blankets and sweaters. I have a notebook or laptop on the table, so I'm not taking up a bunch of space on the table, and it is generally quite hidden.
I didn't even consider that she might have some giant like
10-foot blanket she's knitting on.
Yeah, I was picturing like crocheting like a little stuffed animal or something.
I was thinking like scarves,
Yeah.
Something that she could keep in her lap, which she is doing.
That would be hilarious though if she was just over there making like a quilt.
When in the in-person meetings, I crochet so there's no needles clacking as crochet only uses one hook, and the knitting is done when I'm online as knitting is a bit more of a hassle than crochet is.
It sounds like she is super self-aware of this and is making it as convenient as possible for everyone else.
She is trying her best to not be distracting to everyone else, but still allow her to focus.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're nailing this other than one person who has a stick all the way up his ass.
I am not medicated for my ADHD, but that has a reason. I have trialed a lot. I get bad side effects from medication, even in general, such as extreme drowsiness and nausea. Or some of them just don't even work for me. And these side effects mean I cannot work a full-time job, which I love, so I'd rather be unmedicated and have to deal with myself than be ill and not working. So yeah, medication doesn't fix everything.
No, it doesn't, and it seems like you've found a like little trick that helps you control it. So, I don't know, it seems like this is a great move for you.
Top comment, you literally cleared this with your manager. It wasn't a surprise to them, and as long as you're focused and participating, that's all that should matter. NTA.
Yeah, I mean, as long as your work's getting done and your manager okayed it, I really don't see a problem with this. The fact that you even thought to like keep down the noise pollution in meetings, I have no faults with you.
Anyone's opinion but the boss's is completely irrelevant. It's literally an accommodation for a mental disability/disorder, and people working in this field should be able to understand that. Plus, she already got an okay from her supervisor, so this coworker is nothing but an asshole that is upset that he can't be playing solitaire or something while she does something during the meetings.
It kind of sounds like that, doesn't it? This is the type of person that complains because somebody else is getting away with something, and he also wants to get away with it, but he's not bold enough to try.
And he doesn't know how to crochet anyways.
No, crocheting is hard. I fail at it about once a year and then give up. I have fat fingers. But I fully agree with your recommendation. Just do a little check-in with your supervisor just to make sure that they're still on your side, because if they go over supervisor's head, then that person's going to go to supervisor and be like, what's your team doing? And supervisor needs that heads up so that they can be like, hey, she's not disrupting meetings. Her work is still getting turned in on time. I have no problems with this. Supervisor just needs to be like mentally prepared that they might have to have this discussion with someone.
A comment about that. NTA because it was cleared with your manager, but you may want to take the extra step to get documented accommodations in place with HR. You may also want to report your colleagues' interaction with you to your manager and HR. Like, be proactive about this, a little bit so that you don't get in trouble because this troublemaker is trying to get you in trouble.
Yes, although this does make me wonder. As a society, do we need to start becoming more okay with office wedgies?
I'm not normally one for bullying, but sometimes the bullies need bullied back. OP has one more comment. I just want to say quickly to people saying I should just focus and stop being unprofessional by fidgeting in any capacity. ADHD and other disabilities do not work like that. I can't just focus. I can't just grow up. That's not how it works. If you can come up with a way to miraculously make me focus without fidgeting, I'm all ears.
I think you should replace the knitting with like 10 different fidget spinners.
Yeah, and other people in the comments were recommending that like knitting and crocheting seems a little bit unprofessional. Maybe get some discreet fidget toys that you can keep under the table. But a lot of those make noise.
I know. I was saying that like jokingly because a flashy fidget spinner is so much more distracting than knitting. But yeah, I just keep thinking back to meetings in advertising now and like account managers who just sit there the whole meeting and spin a pen in their hand. And the art team who's doodling or over here on their computer, like doing design work. And the excuses that they're being creative, really, they're just having trouble concentrating on the meeting. So, I don't know, it's seeming a lot more normal the more I think about it.
Yeah, get your crochet on, girl.
Am I the asshole for refusing to transport packages free of charge for a company I don't even do business with?
Why would they expect you to? I'm very confused, but not the asshole. No, what does this company have to do with you?
Last week, 2 medium-sized packages arrived at my doorstep while I was at work. They had my home address on them, but the person they were addressed to was someone I had never even heard of before. Perplexed, I looked to see who sent it and called the company, but they were closed. So I brought the packages in and stored them for the weekend. Yesterday, after work, I called the company to inform them of this error. The representative asked me to print off shipping labels and use packing tape to attach the labels to the boxes. Then, this company wants me to haul this stuff to a FedEx store. At this point, I put the brakes on. In the nicest way I know how, I tell the representative that this isn't my responsibility. I didn't ask for any of this. I'm already doing them a favor by storing their products in my home, plus using my own printer and tape to attach the shipping labels. They need to arrange it so that the packages are picked up from my home, not ask me to drive the packages across town using my own vehicle, fuel, time, etc. Eventually, they agreed that the packages would be picked up from my home. I didn't want to be rude, but I had spent approximately 25 minutes on and off hold, and I found it kind of presumptuous that I was being asked to provide shipping supplies at my own expense, plus transport packages that I never ordered from a company I don't even do business with. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but this isn't my problem.
Not the asshole, and he's way nicer than I would have been. He found out who had sent the packages and then called that company. I would have just called FedEx or UPS or whatever company had delivered the packages and been like, hey, no, this person doesn't live here. Come pick these back up and return to sender.
That's 100% what I would have done. I would have just scribbled return to sender on them. It's tougher when it's FedEx because with the post office, I would have just wrote not at this address, return to sender, and dumped it in a Dropbox.
Yeah, but this one you'd have to like call FedEx and be like, come get these.
Yeah, come get these or they're mine. Or they're trash.
Yeah.
But I'm not going through the effort of going. Well, the second you put me on hold for more than like 1 minute.
Hanging up.
Yep, hanging up. This is more trouble than it's worth.
Throw those things in the trash.
Yep.
Is that illegal? I don't even know, but I feel like that's what my response would want to be because I do not want to have to deal with this hassle.
Yeah, at a certain amount of hassle, I'm willing to risk it. I'm willing to be like, I don't know what package you're talking about.
Mystery, maybe a porch pirate got it.
Yeah.
It wasn't delivered here. I never got it.
I didn't order anything, so why would it come here?
But no, this guy called the company, got the right address, printed out labels, and taped them on the boxes. That is way more nice than I would have been.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say you're a very good Samaritan and maybe a little bit of a pushover. But you did finally put your foot down, so you get a lot of kudos for that. I don't care if my address is written on this. It's FedEx's fault.
It's their problem, at least.
It's their problem. It's not their fault at all, but it is their problem. They can talk back to that company and figure out the logistics and the charges for shipping. I'm sure FedEx has a whole team for that.
Yeah, but this guy wasted more than 30 minutes of his life dealing with this problem, and that is more generous than I would be. My time is precious.
Also, I will add in, I very rarely remember to look at the label when we get a package at our house. So I have opened neighbors' packages several times because it got delivered to our house. And like a couple of them, the person accidentally wrote our address, but a couple of them, it was just like, you know, off by a digit, and the post office guy dropped it off on our porch, and it was like amongst our packages. And so I just opened everything. I don't check them.
Yeah, I don't either.
And then I'm like, what is this?
What did Kristie order? And I'm like, I didn't order that.
Yeah, and then I have to go and dig the packaging out of the trash and be like, oh, great. Now I have to go and apologize to the neighbor because I opened their mail.
We recently opened a Halloween clown costume, and I was like, who would send this to us? I'm terrified of clowns and everyone knows it. Who would do this to us? No, it was the neighbor kid's clown costume for Halloween. I felt very bad we opened it.
Yeah, I did too, because she knocked on our door and was like, sorry, I had a package delivered here by mistake. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, we opened it. It does make you feel like a jerk. Because you're like, I opened your package because it came to my house and I decided it was mine. No, I'm just very unobservant.
No, but not the asshole. He is actually the opposite of an asshole. He's too nice.
A few people in the comments are also pointing out that it could be a legitimate business or it could be a front.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. What if it's drugs?
Drugs is like the extreme example. I was just thinking like, you know, the Amazon scam that they do where they send it to your house and then it's so that they can do like a review on it.
Oh, yeah. They just need any address to send it to be able to post a review.
Yeah, so there are ways that this could be kind of a scammy thing. And then a few people do agree. I'd have given them back to FedEx. I would not waste my time contacting anyone but the label info. Call the courier and have them handle the mistake that happened sometime prior to it landing on my porch. Not my problem if it's misdelivered, a scam, or whatever. Like, yeah, just get rid of it. I don't want it. That's all I care about is that it's not here anymore.
Am I overreacting for removing my mom from Life 360 and putting my phone on no share after she kept showing up?
Is Life 360 one of the tracking things?
Yes.
Then no, you're not the asshole. Some people just don't understand that that's a sometimes app.
That's a for emergencies only app, right?
Yeah, or like we're meeting up and you need to know if I'm here yet.
I'm 26 female and moved to a different city last year for a teaching job. When I was 20, my family set up Life 360 after a storm so everyone could check in fast. It stuck as a habit. At first, it felt fine. My mom, 55 female, would text, "Okay, home, great." After I moved, it got weird. She started commenting on my dots like, "You got home late last night," and "Why were you at that address for 2 hours?" I told her it made me tense and I'd prefer she only use it if I ping SOS. She said I was being dramatic and it's just caring.
It is a little off-putting when somebody is tracking your every move like that.
Yeah, you're 26 and your mom is spying on you 24/7 pretty much.
Yeah.
She wants to know where you are all the time.
Yeah, that's going to make dating awfully awkward at that age. Like, were you at a boy's house overnight?
Right? I don't want my parents to know that.
No.
2 weeks ago, she drove 90 minutes and surprised me in my apartment lobby with muffins because she saw my dot at home on a Saturday. I was in sweatshorts, hair mask on, and had a date planned. She wanted a walk, a long talk, and then maybe we get dinner. I said I couldn't. She cried in the parking lot about how the world is scary and I'm her baby. I offered a weekly phone call time and a once-a-month planned visit. She said okay, but later that night she texted asking why my dot moved to a new address and who lives there. That was the date.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's a little awkward. But also, I feel like your counter offer to her was very formal. A once-a-month planned visit? Is this a divorce?
A weekly phone call.
Yeah.
Scheduled. Everything must be scheduled.
Yeah, a weekly scheduled phone call and a once a month planned visit is really stiff. Like, what are you doing? You clearly are at your wit's end with your mom if you have to go that extreme. Even without her being able to check your dot beforehand, would she have turned up for a quick surprise visit?
I don't know. Maybe, but this way she was sure she was home.
Which isn't that weird, I guess. If you're going to do the surprise visit, it just makes sense to check the dot first. I'm not saying it's great, but I don't know. It's not super weird of me to say have a parent just turn up with muffins or whatever it was. But also, it does sound like she's violating your privacy a lot outside of that.
I don't know. I feel like once you live a certain amount of distance away, surprised visits are just something that cannot happen anymore. Because what if your mom spent 90 minutes driving to see you and you're not there? That's a waste of everyone's time. Like at that point, you need to plan things.
That is true. I forgot about the 90 minutes part of it. She didn't just drive 10 minutes across town, did she?
No, she didn't. She drove far to come see her. And to expect that her dating age single daughter doesn't have plans on a Saturday is a bit presumptuous. You know, like, that's the age where you gotta check in and be like, hey, giving you warning, I'm coming.
Well, she watches that dot a lot, so she knows that she usually doesn't do anything on a Saturday.
This is extremely invasive. I do not like it.
No, it's really invasive. And I change a lot of my opinion now that you've reminded me that it was a 90-minute drive, because that is a commitment. And that is like, I now have to entertain this person for a large amount of time.
To make it worth their 90-minute drive here and their 90-minute drive back.
Yeah, like you gotta at least let them hang out for longer than 3 hours because they're doing 3 hours of driving.
I felt my chest clamp every time I opened my phone, so I removed myself from the circle and turned Apple sharing to no one. I told her I love you and I'm safe and we can do check-ins by call. She is furious and says I made her feel shut out after she kept me alive all those years. My sister says I went nuclear when I could have just muted her texts. Did I overreact by cutting location sharing instead of trying more middle steps?
I think you overreacted by cutting off everyone else in the family. It wouldn't be the end of the world if your sister could still track you, just so somebody had the ability in an emergency.
But Mother has abused the privilege and deserves to be cut off from the sharing.
At least until she learns her lesson, right? No one at that age wants to receive a text from mom being like, what are you doing at that house? I looked up tax records. It's owned by a boy. Are you at a boy's house?
That is like extreme. I do not want my parents knowing anything about my dating life like that, you know?
Yeah, because it sounds like you're on like first dates with guys. Like, you don't want mom knowing about all the people you're going on first dates with. You want mom to know about the people you're going on like 8th dates with. That's just respecting mom. I respect mom too much to introduce her to that floozy.
Top comment, not overreacting. You're 26. She has no right to know your location. I deleted Life 360 as soon as I turned 18.
I would agree that she doesn't have the right to know your location, but as an immediate family, it is like a good safety precaution. But it is one that mom abused. So it's mom that's making all the problems here.
Yeah, my family has Find Your Friends or whatever, so that when we're all meeting up at mom's for dinner, we can check it and be like, oh, you know, my sister's like 5 minutes away, better put dinner on the table or whatever, you know. But none of us abuse it. Like, we don't go checking it all the time to see where everybody is.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing, is like, mom made this problem, and now mom is acting like you're the troublemaker. Although, I will reiterate, I feel like you could have kept it on with sister. I don't know how the Life 360 specifically works, but it sounds like you have an iPhone, so you could turn on Find My Friends and just share location with your sister. That way, you're at least still in the family group, but no, mom needs to learn her lesson before you give her tracking data back.
Yeah, I do feel as a single female, I would want someone in my family to have access to my location and stuff just in case of emergencies. Maybe my mother made me paranoid about being stolen and sex trafficked. I don't know, but it just seems like a good idea.
I have to admit, my parents are fine with me just wandering off.
Being a man must be so nice.
It is.
But also, if my mother was abusing her privileges like this, I would, you know, block her or whatever, especially if I'm dating. Like, at this point, we're married. I don't care if my mom sees where I am. There's nowhere I go that I would not, you know, want her to necessarily know. But there was a time where I wouldn't want her to know I was going to boys' houses.
I gotta say, we did grow up a little bit before this technology was invented, which was very nice.
It was, because I would have had to.
You would have had to have it on.
I would have had to have it on. And like when I was at college, my mom was okay with like me not checking. I had to check in every few days. And as long as like my roommate knew where I was going or my friends knew where I was going and stuff, it was okay. But she wanted someone to always know where I had gone so that if I did go missing, they would know where to start looking, which is kind of a nice safety thought, you know?
Yeah, and also like at that college age and a little after, you're supposed to be learning independence and like building your own social safety net. And it can't always be mom. But I think the only way to get a mother to see that she has done something wrong is to get like her sister or maybe your dad to talk to her about it. It has to come from a third party. Maybe your sister even could do it, but I don't think you talking to mom will get through.
I don't think it will either. But I mean, I don't even know if having her sister talk to mom would do it, because her sister said she went nuclear. And I'm like, no, that seems like a pretty sane response to me, to cut mom off.
Especially because mom pretty much just said no when you complained earlier. So it sounds like nuclear was, I need to make a point, and this will get the point across.
Mom needs to respect my privacy. And until she learns to, she can't have access to my location.
I am a strong, independent woman who don't need no mama.
I need my mama feed me dinner.
You got a husband to feed you dinner.
I know. But you don't make me peanut butter cookies like my mama makes me peanut butter cookies. I need my mama.
No, I enforce your diet.
It's terrible. I want cookies.
Carrot sticks, Kristie. We're both on carrot sticks.
Not overreacting. Tell your sister what mom was doing wasn't healthy for mom. Mom needs meds or therapy to address her anxiety or whatever it is that is causing her to do this. Letting her see your location 24/7, even if you didn't respond to her, was just feeding into her illness and making her worse. Yeah, mom does seem like super obsessed with this. Like she's checking in and being like, oh, you're still out. It's late. What are you doing out?
That is true. I was only thinking about it like from a nagging perspective. Yeah, mom might have a little bit of anxiety or something, in which case it might be best if dad is in charge of the tracking app. Although I say that, but I don't know if I trust dad not to just hand the phone to her, right?
Mom will nag dad so much about it that dad will be checking you 24/7.
Yeah, so it's just got to be your sister. I think that the sisters can back each other up to the point where they're like, hey, we'll check each other's locations. And if you need the info, we can check in and say she's fine, right?
Ooh, someone agrees with my philosophy. I told my adult female children to make sure someone knows where you are, whether it is a significant other, a roommate or friend, or someone, especially for women, but men too. If you go missing, someone needs to say, she was at dinner with John Doe, or she was jogging through the park. OP's mom was way over the line, though. Safety measures, yes. Knowing every step you take, no.
Yeah, at that point, you're pretty much just driving your kid away.
All right, well, that was our last story for this episode of Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet.
Thanks for joining us. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.